In a remote corner of Texas, Elon Musk walked into a modest restaurant, wearing a Tesla t-shirt and a Make America Great Again, MAGA, cape. What happened next was something that would leave anyone speechless. The restaurant, tucked away on a dark road near Amarillo, Texas, had a neon sign that glowed against the evening sky. Inside, the smell of frying bacon mingled with the sweet aroma of caramel apples, while the low murmur of conversation filled the room. It wasn't a fancy place, but it served as a refuge for travelers and locals looking for a moment of peace. Elon Musk parked his electric car in the parking lot and got out quietly. Wearing a Tesla t-shirt and MAGA cape, he walked into the restaurant without attracting much attention. The cape wasn't a political statement for him. It was a gift he had received at a conference and had been in his car ever since. That day, it served to shield him from the bright Texas sun. He ordered a coffee and some fruit from a waitress who looked like she had seen 1,000 faces like his. Elon wasn't looking for attention. Instead, he was enjoying the tranquility of a quiet afternoon away from Silicon Valley. The door to the restaurant opened, and a group of bikers walked in. 6 of them, dressed in leather t-shirts and boots that spoke of thousands of miles on the clock. Their steady footsteps echoed across the floor, and their laughter was loud and uninhibited. They radiated a confidence that came from living life on their own terms. Most of the people in the restaurant glanced at them and quickly returned to their food. Elon, however, made eye contact with one of the bikers, a gray-haired man wearing a Bull t-shirt. Bull's laughter stopped mid-sentence when he noticed Elon's cape. His eyes narrowed, and he approached with a suspicious expression. "Looks like someone got a little bit out of Hollywood," Bull said, his voice sharp as a sword. His friends laughed, but their eyes remained watchful. Elon looked up from his coffee, his expression calm but curious. "Hollywood? Not yet," Elon replied, tilting his head. Bull walked over, his footsteps echoing through the restaurant. "Are you sure about this? Because that shirt you're wearing makes a statement," Bull said, his voice low but thick with tension. Elon adjusted his shirt slowly, his eyes never leaving Bull's. "Sometimes a shirt is just a shirt," he said quietly. The restaurant fell silent. All eyes were on them now, the tension palpable in the air. Bull stepped closer, his presence imposing. "A shirt like that doesn't come into places like this for no reason," Bull said, his voice deep but deliberate. Elon didn't flinch. Instead, he leaned back in his chair, his fingers resting gently on the rim of his coffee cup. "That's interesting," Elon said. "A piece of fabric can carry so much weight. You're reading a lot into it. Why is that?" Bull stepped back, momentarily disconcerted by the unexpected answer. "Because it's for something. People use it to show whose side they're on." "So whose side are you on, Mr. Big Shot?" Elon looked around the restaurant. The waitress had disappeared into the kitchen, leaving the other customers frozen in their seats, eyes flickering between the two of them. A man sitting in the corner pushed his plate aside, muttering, "This is why I don't stop at places like this anymore." With a soft smile, Elon turned his attention back to Bull. "Do you really want to have this conversation here?" Elon asked, gesturing toward the restaurant, where everyone was now watching, eager to see what would happen next. Bull crossed his arms, his jaw clenched. "Why not? People like you don't come here unless you're trying to shake things up." Elon smiled. "I came for the waffles. They're good, by the way. You should try them." The unexpected answer caught Bull off guard, prompting a chuckle from one of the bikers in the corner. Bull's gaze darted toward the laughter, instantly silencing it. He turned his attention to Elon. "Do you think this is funny?" "No," Elon said, his voice firm. "But I think misunderstandings often are." Bull hung his head, his arms crossed. "What's the misunderstanding?" Elon paused, letting Bull's words hang in the air for a moment. Then he leaned forward, resting his arms on the table. "Maybe we should talk about what this means to you, because it seems important right now," Elon suggested. The restaurant held its breath, waiting for Bull's answer. For a brief moment, even his companions seemed curious about what he might say. The tension remained, but there was a glimmer of something more, something like intrigue. Bull considered Elon's words, his companions exchanging uneasy glances, realizing that the dynamic was changing. The tension in the restaurant hadn't increased, but it had shifted into something less predictable, an expectant silence for the conversation that was taking place. "You want to know what this means to me?" Bull asked, his voice low but thick with years of formed opinions. He placed a hand on the table, the leather of his jacket creaking as he shifted. "Out here, that hat has a history. People wear it to make a statement, one that doesn't sit well with everyone." Elon didn't respond immediately. He took a sip of his coffee, his gaze fixed on Bull. When he finally spoke, his tone was calm but firm. "That's fair," he said. "But isn't it worth asking why someone like me might use it? Or are you more interested in making assumptions?" Bull stepped back, his eyes deepening. "All right then," he said, crossing his arms. "Why are you wearing that?" Elon set his coffee cup down on the table, his fingers playing with the rim. "Because it was a gift," he said simply. "I don't wear it to part with it. I wear it because it reminds me of the person who gave it to me. A retired engineer who spent his life solving problems most people didn't even know existed. We had a great conversation about hard work, innovation, and what it means to leave something better than you found it." The honesty in his voice cut through the air like a blade. Even Bull's expression softened, if only a little. "That's," Bull admitted after a long pause. "But you have to know what it's like for the people here." "Absolutely," Elon replied. "And I respect that. But maybe instead of judging someone by what they're wearing, we could talk about what we stand for, what really matters." Bull said nothing for a moment. The other bikers shifted uncomfortably, clearly not used to seeing their leader challenged in this way. One of them, a burly man with a thick beard, spoke up, "Okay, genius. What do you stand for?" Elon looked around the room, his eyes landing briefly on each face before returning to Bull. "I stand for progress," he said, "finding common ground, even when it seems impossible, and believing that no matter how divided we seem, there is always a way to connect." The restaurant fell silent again, but this time the weight was different. The tension had given way to something deeper, a collective curiosity about where this conversation might lead. Bull's lips pressed together in a thin line. "Okay," he said, his voice thick but less hostile. "You have my attention. So what's your idea of moving forward?" Elon leaned forward slightly, his hands clasped together on the table. The room was quiet now, the sound of clanking forks and hushed conversations replaced by an almost electric anticipation. "Moving forward," Elon began, "starts with conversations like this. People don't always see eye to eye, but most of the time it's because they've never really tried to understand where the other person is coming from." Bull stepped back, his arms still crossed. "It seems like a way of saying, let's stick together, duh." Elon backed away. "No, it's not. But it also doesn't work when people assume the worst about each other without asking questions. Take us, for example. You saw that shirt and made a judgment. I get it. Where I come from, people make judgments too. But imagine how different things could be if we started asking, why instead of assuming we already know." Bull backed away, and for a moment, he seemed to struggle with the idea. One of his companions, the burly man with the beard, spoke up again. "All right, Elon, since we're asking questions, why did you really come here? A guy like you doesn't just show up in the middle of Texas for waffles." Elon backed away. "Believe it or not, I'm working, scouting locations for a project. I like to see things for myself, talk to people, get a feel for the place. You'd be surprised how much you can learn just by listening." The man with the beard chuckled a little. "Listening? Huh? You're talking to the wrong audience for this. We're more about action." "Action is good," Elon replied, his tone easy. "But it's better when it's informed. That's why I build things, to solve problems, to create something that improves the lives of as many people as possible. And that includes people like you." "People like us?" Bull asked. His voice grew clearer. "People who know what it means to work hard, to build something with their own hands," Elon said. "Do you think Tesla or SpaceX came from nothing? They are built on the same principles you live by: pride, determination, and refusing to give up when the going gets tough." The room seemed to hold its breath. The bikers, who moments before had seemed ready for a fight, now seemed more curious than confrontational. Even Bull's posture had relaxed a little. "So what's your angle?" Bull asked. "Are you trying to win us over with some fancy words and big ideas?" "There's no angle," Elon said simply. "Just a conversation. But if you're interested, I have something to show you. Something that might change the way you think about what's possible. Bull raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah? What's that? Elon paused, placing some bills on the table to cover his lunch. What would a trip look like? I have a Tesla facility not far from here. Come see what we're building and what it could mean for you. The bikers exchanged surprised glances, but there was a glint of intrigue in their expressions. Bull looked at Elon for a long moment before finally stepping back. Why the hell not? He said. But if this is some kind of sale, we're out. There's no sale, Elon said with a small smile. Just an invitation. The group of bikers followed Elon into the parking lot, their footsteps echoing against the gravel. A few of them exchanged low comments, still unsure of the situation. Bull walked ahead, his hands shoved in his jacket pockets, his dark eyes studying Elon as if trying to figure out where he was coming from. Parked near the front of the parking lot was Elon's Cybertruck. Its angular design looked alien compared to the motorcycles and pickup trucks around it. One of the riders, a young man with a red bandana tied around his hair, let out a low whistle. Is that yours? He asked, pointing at the car. Yes, it is, Elon replied, pulling a key card from his pocket. With a single touch, the car doors opened and the headlights turned on. Come in. It's not far. The bikers hesitated, clearly unaccustomed to hitchhiking in something so unconventional. All of us, one of them asked, looking around the spacious interior of the car. Elon smiled. It'll be tight, but you'll fit. Bull crossed his arms, his eyes narrowing. We're not going into this thing until you tell us what we're doing. Elon leaned back in the car, his arms casually crossed. What you're doing, he said, is giving yourself an opportunity to see something different. To understand that innovation isn't about breaking people. It's about finding new ways to bring them together. You can't trust me yet, but I think you'll trust what I'm going to show you. Bull studied him for a moment. Finally, he turned to his team. All right, let's see what this guy's got. The group climbed into the Cybertruck, the leather of their jackets creaking against the futuristic seats. When Elon stepped out, he began speaking, not in the soft tones of a salesman, but in an almost conversational, direct tone. You know, a lot of people think Tesla is just for rich people, he said. Fancy cars, high price tags. But the truth is, what we're doing is not just about cars. It's about changing the way we think about energy, about transportation, about what's possible for everyone. The bikers listened in silence, the sound of the Cybertruck's engine barely audible as they drove down the road. The landscape outside changed from dusty plains to the modern silhouette of a Tesla facility on the horizon. When they arrived, Elon pulled up near the entrance and got out. This, he said, gesturing to the massive building, is where the magic happens. The bikers stepped out of the Cybertruck, their footsteps hitting the pristine concrete of the Tesla facility's parking lot. The building loomed large, a futuristic structure of glass and steel that seemed to glow with possibility in the afternoon sun. They exchanged uncomfortable glances, clearly out of their element. But Bull took the lead, his expression stoic. Elon swiped a key card at the entrance, and the glass doors opened with a soft whoosh. Inside, the atmosphere was completely different from the dingy restaurant they had left behind. The air was cool and clean, and the sound of machinery hummed in the background as employees moved with purpose. Large screens showed real-time updates on production metrics, while robots worked alongside people on assembly lines. Welcome to the future, Elon said, gesturing around the space. This is where we're building electric cars, energy storage systems, and the kind of technology that could change the way we live if we let it. The bikers hesitated at first, hanging back near the entrance. It was the youngest of the group, the one with the red bandana, who broke the silence. This is crazy, he said, his eyes wide as he watched a robotic arm assemble a car. Elon smiled. It's something, isn't it? Come on, let me show you. As they walked through the facility, Elon explained each section with enthusiasm, his words shining with passion for the work being done. He showed off the battery assembly line, where elegant modules were precision-crafted. He pointed out solar panels being tested for durability, explaining how they could power off-grid communities. At one station, a team was developing a new prototype for a more affordable electric car, designed to make sustainable transportation accessible to people everywhere. This isn't about making toys for billionaires, Elon said, his voice rising slightly to drown out the din of machinery. It's about solving problems that affect everyone. Climate change doesn't care how much money you have, where you come from, or what you believe in. We all have a stake in finding solutions. Bull, who had remained silent for most of the tour, finally spoke up. Do you really believe that all this can make a difference? I believe it, Elon replied without hesitation. But it's not just about the technology, it's about people being willing to think differently, to imagine a better future and work together to make it a reality. Bull sighed slowly, his gaze roaming the assembly line. It's impressive, I'll give you that. But how does something like that help someone like me? Someone who spent his life fixing old machines, not building new ones. Elon turned to face him directly. It helps because it shows you what's possible, he said. It's easy to get stuck in the way things have always been. But when you see something like this, when you see that change is possible, it opens your mind to what you could do, too. The bikers fell silent as they continued their tour. Their earlier skepticism was replaced by a sense of fascination and reflection. Even Bull, the grizzled leader who had confronted Elon so forcefully at the restaurant, seemed moved by what he had seen. As they walked back toward the entrance, Elon stopped and turned to face the group. Look, I'm not saying this place is going to solve every problem, he said, but it's a start. And if you're curious, if you want to see what else is out there, you're always welcome here. For a moment, no one said anything. Then Bull stepped forward, extending his hand. You're a strange guy, Musk, he said with a half smile. But I respect what you're doing. Elon shook his hand firmly. Thanks, Bull. I respect what you're doing, too. And for what it's worth, those waffles really were great. The bikers laughed. The tension that had followed them from the restaurant had finally dissipated. They jumped back on their bikes, the ride back filled with conversation about what they had seen and what it all meant. When the bikes pulled back into the restaurant parking lot, the bikers got out, quieter now than when they had arrived. The worn-out lot seemed smaller somehow, the world outside the Tesla facility less expansive. They stood in a tight circle near their motorcycles, each lost in thought. Even Bull, who had dominated the conversation earlier, seemed reflective. Elon came out last, sliding casually against the bike. I've been to a lot of places. I've broken the silence, he said. I've met a lot of people, but today was different. You reminded me why it's important to have these conversations, not just about technology, but about where we're going as a society. Bull looked up, his expression new. You talk a good game, Musk, he said. But I admit, you showed us something today. It made me think, and that doesn't happen very often. Elon smiled. Thinking is the first step, action comes later. One of the younger bikers, the one with the red bandana, looked at Elon and asked, do you really think all this technology can fix the world? Like, for real? Elon's face became serious. I think technology is a tool. It's not about the machines or the devices, it's about how to use them. We can build walls, or we can build bridges. The choice is always ours. The group fell into a contemplative silence. Bull broke the silence by extending his hand to Elon once more. You're doing well, Musk, he said gravely. We don't agree on everything, but I respect you for putting your money where your mouth is. Elon shook his hand firmly. And I respect you for listening. That's the hard part. The bikers mounted their motorcycles, the roar of their engines breaking the tranquility of the lot. One by one, they waved goodbye, leaving Elon standing beside his car, watching them drive away. Bull was the last to leave, giving Elon a brief wave before he got off his motorcycle and disappeared down the road. As Elon climbed back into his car, he paused for a moment, staring out at the horizon. It wasn't every day that worlds collided in such an unexpected way, but when they did, it reminded him why he did what he did. Progress wasn't just about building machines or launching rockets into space. It was about connecting people, even in the most unexpected circumstances. He started the car, the engine purring to life, and drove off, leaving the restaurant behind but carrying the day's lessons forward. The story of Elon Musk and the bikers shows us that no matter our differences, there is always room for understanding and connection. Technology and innovation are not just about creating new things, but about how those things can improve the lives of all of us. By listening and learning from each other, we can build a better future together. If you like this video and it added something to you, watch the next one. The next video will add more value to you. Don't forget to like it. Your comment is very important. Subscribe to the channel. Recommend this video to a friend and watch the next video, for example. If you like this video and it added something to you, watch the next one. The next video will add more value to you.